Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to a special bonus episode of Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. Our royal insider, Deep Crown, was suspicious about the timing of Kate's video drop, and it seems DC wasn't the only one. In the Daily Mail, Liz Jones writes, "It started so movingly, so powerfully. A simple, stark message from Catherine. A few simple words we have all waited anxiously to hear. Phew, I was in tears. But then, suddenly and inexplicably, what began as a heartfelt message, a tonic, a relief after all the months of obfuscation, descended into a Bowden advert. Kate has been through hell, through a battle, and she is winning. And yet the highly choreographed, slick and soft-focus 3-minute video released on Monday afternoon was surely as misjudged as the 1969 documentary that attempted to portray the royal family as normal, backfiring so badly that the Queen made sure it was never seen again. If that documentary, following a year in the life of the monarch, was accused of ruining the royal mystique by making them seem like any other modern family, this new video was attempting to do the opposite, to portray the Waleses as hyper-real, perfect, retro, like something out of an Enid Blyton novel. But why on earth? A real portrayal would show the kids on their phones, surely. Catherine would look tired and pensive, not perfect with conker-coloured hair. She says it has been incredibly tough, but the trouble is, it all looks like a photogenic walk in the park. Only William seems almost real. Reclined on various blankets or on the sand, he is awkward, as if placed there, limbs carefully arranged like a marionette. Cancer is messy, imperfect, shattering. After all the mental health initiatives, her work stressing the importance of shaping young minds, this strange, odd film seems a misfire from a family once so protective of their privacy. It smacks of something Meghan and Harry might come up with. Hallmark, cringy, cliched. Not real or from the heart at all. Wouldn't it have meant more if Catherine had discussed the type of cancer she is suffering from, possibly saving hundreds, if not thousands, of lives? Perhaps a video of her meeting other women with the same diagnosis. Where was the Catherine from that bench in Windsor, bearing her soul, telling us of her diagnosis, replaced by a chimera, an ideal, an illusion? Who at Kensington Palace thought this was the right approach? There were lots of sober comment pieces in the papers yesterday saying Kate has taken control, driven the narrative, but it all seems off, and the public is seeing through it. After a strange video looking ecstatic, leaving a farm shop and a radiant appearance at the Trooping of the Colour in Wimbledon, we suddenly have this outpouring of intimacy that, to me, many of us seems a bit desperate. To my mind, the portrait of our next king was off too. How can we take William seriously, having seen his bare legs wrapped around his wife? The monarchy is hanging by a thread. Please don't stretch our credulity. We checked back in with Deep Crown, who texted back, "Notice how you aren't asking me about Harry." Melanie McDonough poses a question in The Standard. Can the Crown survive Kate's dreadful video? She writes, "Of course it's marvellous news that the Princess of Wales has come to an end of chemotherapy treatment and is well on the way to recovery. Which of us did not feel for her in her last sombre announcement that she had cancer? It is also the best of news that she will be returning to public duties. She was missed. The prayers of the nation have been answered. But forgive me, was it necessary to share this news with the nation in an utterly grisly video? If she were advertising Herbal Essence's Tropical Shower Shampoo, it would have been just the thing. The shots of her walking in slow motion through a sunlit meadow, her long hair moving in the breeze, her slender figure shown to advantage in her simple cotton frock. Why, it made one feel emotionally manipulated, squeezed like a lemon for the last drop of sympathy. So she's feeling well, one is glad. One doesn't need the point rubbed home with a gruesome image of her releasing a little yellow butterfly from her hand. Is emotional reticence now over in the royal family? One fears so, though it still, thank God, has a place with the redoubtable Princess Anne, but it comes as a cost. By turning the royals into exhibits of emotional wellness, it diminishes their value as parts of a national institution in which dignity is the main thing. Kate has lost that. In The Guardian, Marina Hyde writes, "I feel deep sympathy for Kate and I'm glad she's better, but this dance with the media devil won't work." Watching the 3-minute film shot by some ad man, I wondered who could possibly feel it was anything but sad that a recovering post-chemo mother should feel that this is her best option for keeping well-wishers at bay a little longer. Kate's video, shot by a man who has also shot campaigns for Uber Eats and who made Tesco's Food Love Stories commercials. Something else is being served up here, which for some reason he has decided to make look like a Centre Parks ad. Despite artfully included clips of Prince George asking off the camera, "Is this filming?" the video was not captured by a GoPro on a picnic rug, but by a crew in a significant post-production operation who made studied use of filters and slow motion, switching from sweeping shots to grainy scenes designed to ape cine film. Unlike the private home movies in the opening titles of Succession, the footage shows a happy family. But for my money, the sense of menace is still there. But whereas the Roys are menaced from within, the menace to the Waleses comes from the outside. And it is the endless and thankless task of appeasing it that dictates that this video must exist at all. The Princess of Wales video feels like an attempt to meet social media on its own terms. Social media is, of course, the arena in which hunting Kate became a jolly global blood sport earlier this year, when the #BeKindBrigade grew bored within weeks and whipped up a vicious feeding frenzy of conspiracy theories as to her absence and the reasons for it. Kate tried silencing it with a Mother's Day photo. Minor editing glitches immediately became a scandal, for which she absurdly felt obliged to formally apologize. Inevitably, meanwhile, the same critics who detest Harry and Meghan's barefoot California content decline to look at the style of the Wales' video and consider that the Meghanization of the royal family continues apace. Even the BBC, in their prim and proper way, suggested something is curious about this video. They write, "It's a world away from old-school royal releases which stuck to the barest of details and stayed as dry as the desert. This much lusher treatment follows the trend of celebrities and public figures taking their messages straight to the public, using the language of social media rather than conventional news or an interview. It allows a great deal of control over the message, with evocative music and slick editing driving the story forward, rather than any questions that might arise about her health or treatment. We see Catherine in a 1970s-style long flowing dress, spending time with her family in the woods and by the beach, playing a game with her own parents. These are framed in a relatable way, a family relaxing after really tough times, in a rural setting that's meant to send a message about the soothing powers of nature. Over the top of the pictures is Catherine's narration, in a movie voiceover style, capturing her sense of cautious optimism as she welcomes the end of her chemotherapy, while at the same time recognizing the fragility of life. It's where Norfolk meets Hollywood plus Instagram. Surely Harry and Meghan would sit back and let Kate have her moment in the sun? Nope. Piers Morgan in The Sun writes, "The gap was only 100 minutes, but it might as well have been 100 light years. At 4:29 p.m. on Monday afternoon, the Prince and Princess of Wales released a stunningly powerful 3-minute film about Kate's ongoing battle with cancer. And at 6:09 p.m., Netflix released a promo for a new documentary series about POLO, made by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Of course, it may just have been a stupendous coincidence, but if you believe that, then I've got some very dodgy old Ford Cortinas to sell you. One thing is indisputable, and it's that the separate announcements perfectly encapsulated the very different lives of these two couples now. One, featuring the heir to the throne and his health-stricken wife, was an extraordinarily moving, humble, and profoundly inspiring insight into what it's like to have a life-threatening illness when you have a loving young family, regardless of wealth or status. The other, featuring two spoiled brat renegades who ditched royal duty and service for a life of self-enriching Hollywood glitz and glamour, was a nauseatingly ill-timed self-promotional plug for a series about a sport so elite only millionaires can play it. Regardless of whether Meghan and Harry deliberately rushed out their promo to try and spoil Kate and William's big announcement, or just to capitalize on the megaton-sized global attention it instantly received, it landed like a plop of unwanted pigeon poop on a pavement. All Tuesday's newspapers, front pages from England to Australia to America and India, were dominated by images from the Wales' film, with barely a cursory side mention to the Sussexes' bejeweled horse and mallet grift. I can only begin to imagine the indignant shrieks of hand-wringing rage that emanated from a certain mansion in Montecito, when the Sussexes realized that their latest money-grabbing venture had once again been eclipsed by their sworn sibling and sister-in-law enemies at Kensington Palace. Palace Intrigue, we'll be right back. William, who totally isn't trying to get you to stop talking about Harry's 40th birthday, made a solo appearance in Wales, William kicked off the day at Swiss Valley Community Primary School, where he greeted staff and students with a cheerful good morning in Welsh. Head teacher Joe Davies described William as a gentleman and noted how his warm demeanour put everyone at ease. She shared that the school was thrilled and honoured by his visit, as it highlighted their efforts to provide enriching experiences for their students. William's day also included a stop at the home to the Scarlets rugby union team. There, he supported the Welsh Rugby Union's Missing Caps campaign and spent time with past and present members of the national women's rugby team, which recently qualified for the 2025 World Cup. And there you have it for this special bonus edition. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice. And if you need to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.